And here's what I'd like you to do. We're not talking about finance literacy. We're not talking about finance literacy in 1950. We're not talking about it in 1929, though there's some parallels. What I'd like you to do is just jot the numbers 21st century within that frame, and I'd like you to talk about the frame of reference in which kids are today in the 21st century. It could be around technology, it could be around global connectivity, doesn't matter. What I'd like you to do is just put down what are the influences on students today living and learning about literacy in the 21st century, okay? So put 21st century here. And jot down, like for example, I might write technology, global. Take a moment and put the frame of reference around it. This is the frame of reference. Go for it. I give you 1 minute. What is it about the 21st century that's going to influence how we look at finance literacy? Okay?
Appreciation for depreciation. I like phrases. You don't have a name tag on your shoe.
Identity crisis. Okay. Can I have your eyes again? I'm going to be a spy for all of you if you want to call it that. It's sort of a negative term. Could I borrow this for a second? The trust here is amazing. So let me just read off a couple of things from the frame that you can add. 21st century. Internet. And by the way, you can add these to your frame. Media. Lack of physical money. Interesting, lack of physical money. What is, that's interesting. I want to make sure, what is this? Sorry.
Shrinking frontiers.
Shrinking frontiers. Globalization. A lot of stuff, no value. Instant, get this one. Instant gratification. Yes. No appreciation for depreciation. Coined right here, trademark it, it's yours. And lack of parental control. I think that was a personal insult to yours truly. Lack of parental control, okay? So take another minute and I'll get back to you. Add some more things to your frame. What are some things you pulled out from theirs that you'd like to add? Hey, here's another one. Let's come back together. Here's one. How about limited attention span? Limited attention span? So I'm teaching my son to drive the other day, and I'm in the driver's seat. He's actually very good. And I go to him, hey, let's turn on some tunes. He's, oh, great. He's like reaches for the CD to pop it in. You know, it's like, hey, so you sort of lost the road right there. And I said, oh, you've got I started playing it. I said, hey, you just got a phone call. You want to take it? Right? He said, oh, hey, just a minute. Hey, let's get some food and drive around. So what's happening is there's that sense of instantaneous gratification as well as a heck of a lot of toys. And it doesn't matter where you're living. There are a lot of distractions. So let's step back for a second. Let's step back, because what you've done right now is given some definition to financial literacy, given the context. You've looked a little bit at the frame of reference, but now with some limited time. By the way, is time a frame of reference? Isn't it drive a lot of our decisions? So right now I have about 12 minutes with you. So notice that that's one of the things that presses people around financial literacy. You've got these frames that are always driving your decision making, right? By the way, you may want to put down time in your frame. Is there time for this? Is there time for in the curriculum? Is there, notice the discussion this morning, where's the time? That's a driver, right? Okay. Take a moment quietly. Everybody just take a quiet moment and look over the map that's in front of you. Don't speak, just take a moment and look it over, okay? Do you see some major ideas as you glance this over? Don't say anything, just take a moment. What do you see here in this map? What are some key concepts that you see? Just take a minute. Here's how I would like you to deal with these concepts. By the way, normally, in a normal situation, you all would start talking, right? And then we have this cacophony of ideas, and that's fantastic, but I'm going to actually have you sort of merge your ideas together, and here's how I'd like you to do it. I'd like you to turn your map over, okay? Flip it over so you have a blank page. And this is an ancient tool. It's been around for centuries. We call it the tree map. If you want the metaphor of a tree of knowledge, that works too. Try not to go to the idea of an org chart, because org charts are dead trees. This is the dynamic use of the same kind of thinking, which is sort of categorical or conceptual in form. So don't think, dang it, he just put up an org chart, because that isn't what this is. What I'd like you to do is just write the term at the top, financial literacy. And then I would like you to identify from your conversation and from the circle map that you generated 2 or 3 major concepts that you think are important to financial literacy. So what I've asked you to do is generate a lot of ideas, and Yvette this morning said that what's really important is the ability to synthesize ideas on the way to an action plan. So if you could, try to crunch your thinking together a little bit and say, if you were to come up with 2 or 3 concepts that you said financial literacy has to be based on these 3 principles or ideas, what would they be? All right? If you could try to do that right now, what would those be? And take a look back at your circle map if you want to. Hold it up. Very good, Howard. Look at this, a natural processor. For example, what's one of yours?
Relevant.
Relevance. So right here, right there. So over at Howard's group, they had relevance. You might have another point here and another point here. You can even branch out and put a fourth one. It's okay. It won't hurt. What are 3 or 4? Keep going. I see global awareness over here. Credit. Interesting. Decision making. Okay. Hey, let's take a look at a couple of trees. For example, over here we go, back together. Over here in this group we had spending, saving, investing, relevance, analytical thinking, breaking the cycle. You know, I had a word down today, adaptability, budgets, personal accountability. What do we have over here? What do you have going? Somebody put down lunch, which is really close to where we're going. Decision making, I love that. Asset management, that's lunch, right? We have assets that we need to, okay? Discipline, knowledge, and technology. Okay? Yeah. I've missed you. So here's one. This table, I know my right side I sometimes neglect.
It's okay.
So here we go. Are you with me? Needs and wants. Hey, just a sec, folks. Ho! Some people are so engaged, I'm losing them. Maybe not. Critical thinking and informed consumers. Okay. Now, one thing, when you go back to work today, and if you've got a problem or a concern, these two tools may help out because first, actually in the field of mathematics, they don't call it problem solving, they call it problem finding. So first you have to find out and give definition to a problem before you solve it. Benjamin Bloom used to call this one-shot thinking. It's when we think we've got the problem already defined and we solve a problem before we work through it fully. So the circle map helps us, and will help us right here in this group, give definition to finance literacy,